Welcome to All Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. 8 different locations all over Western New York with over 300 beers to choose from. One of the only kid and dog friendly bars in all of the area. And of course, open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later. And don't forget Buffalo Apparel Company, one of the greatest spots to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, from your shirts, your hats, to your hoodies. Make sure you go check them out at Buffalo Co. on Instagram and Twitter. Dropping some new heat over the last 48 hours. Keep an eye out. If you haven't seen it already, check out our pages or their page. The hats that are coming out are going to be absolutely sick. And they're now obviously the home for all of our future merchandise. So make sure you go check that out at Buffalo Co. on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, don't forget at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter as well. Sabres win 3-2 in overtime. A lot to unpack. Connor, how are you? And how do you feel about that big win?
Pretty good. They absolutely needed it. I saw a lot of people saying that had they lost that one, or obviously not gotten 2 points or just gotten 1 point, that it was officially over, given the fact that the Lightning are in that final wild card spot, and it's the team that the Sabres are chasing. So getting the 2 points instead of the 1, it's obviously huge, and it does give you, annoyingly, as a fan, a little sense of hope. But from a team perspective, that's a huge win on the road against a team that's really good at home, and a team obviously that has had a lot of success recently. So that could be a really nice momentum boost going into a huge game on Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, it would have been much bigger had they been at least get a point out of Florida. With this being a 4-point swing game, everyone knows when you're chasing the team in front of you in the division, you're gaining 2 points, but you're also preventing them from getting 2 points. I think we may still have 2 games in hand on them even after tonight. I'm not 100%. I gotta check. I gotta look at the schedule, but we will take a look at that. But again, couple clicks for Don Granato tonight, because putting Jordan Green on the top line was a nice move and a nice touch. Whenever you play Tampa, you're going to run and do a lot of physicality up and down their lineup, and you kind of have to match that with your own. And he added a lot of size on that top line by putting Greenway up there and dropping Skinner down. So, a couple of clicks for him. I love that move. And has Jordan Greenway turned into the ultimate utility guy for the Buffalo Sabres?
I mean, I tweeted it during the game. I think he's the best penalty killer in the NHL. He's proven it time and time again this season that he's just an absolute menace on the penalty kill. Getting in stick lanes. He had a breakaway tonight that probably should have scored, given how much time that he had. I think he probably could have had a better move there. But just in general, I mean, he's doing everything. He had 4 or 5 shots tonight. He's obviously hitting. This is the first game in a while, especially against a team like that. The Sabres had 29 hits. The Lightning had 28. So especially compared to the Panthers game the other night when they got out hit by, I think, like 15, that is a commitment to physicality that they haven't had in a long time. And he's the number one guy that does it. He is, as you said, he's a utility guy. He does everything. And he's obviously added some offense in addition to what we knew he already could do. So that's a player that I saw on a couple of lists of potential trade candidates. That's a player that you absolutely have to have on this roster because he does things that nobody else does.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people always kind of felt indifferent to start the season about Jordan Greenway. Kevin Adams gets kind of criticized a lot for that being like his biggest move since taking over as GM in terms of getting like an actual like rostered player on this team via trade. But I mean, how can you complain? I guess I understand the side of how is that like that's his biggest deal. But let's be real, like that deal, I mean, he's earned himself another contract for the Buffalo Sabres. Like, and I would be extremely angry if they didn't bring him back. And I have to believe they would, knowing how much of a Jordan or a Don Granato guy he is. And just his overall play, no matter where you stick him in the lineup, he finds a way to contribute and he thrives. He goes to the net. He plays hard. He doesn't play with a big edge, but he plays a little bit of an edge. he's not a guy who's going to go out there and chuck them when you need it out there. But, he plays with a physical presence out there every time he's on the ice, and he's in the goalie's face constantly. And we don't have a lot of that in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he's also 27 years old, so not even close to being done. And I guess that's representative of a lot of this roster. But as we've said, he provides a different skill set than the rest of these smaller, quick guys that are all across the Sabres middle six, top six, even bottom six now. In bottom six moving forward. Hopefully not after either the trade deadline or the draft or free agency. They're going to get more guys like him because that's exactly what they need. They need to do what he did tonight to open up space for Tage Thompson to get the opportunities that he did. Up until that Tage Thompson goal, I said it. I was thinking literally milliseconds before he scored that this was some of the most boring hockey I've seen from them all season long. The power play was abysmal right up until that point. And then what do you know? He gets an inch of daylight and he sends one past one of the best goalies in the world. So opening up space for our guys, obviously, who have proven that they can score at an elite level is a really underrated part to his game and hopefully other guys that we can bring in.
Yeah, I think they only had 3 power plays on night. They scored twice, did they not?
Yeah. I mean, the overtime was 4-on-3, obviously, but yeah, I think it was only 3.
What about tonight? At least from a special team standpoint, even like I said, even not we're going to talk about like obviously the PK because the PK has always been pretty good. They generated some offensive chances, killing penalties tonight. You mentioned before Greenway's breakaway, but what was different about tonight's power play? Why?
Got a really fun quote for you that you're gonna love.
No, I already heard it. The Matt Ellis from Darlene quote. Oh yeah, he chalked it up to. Well, it's about time, Matt. It's about fucking time. It's about fucking time. You waited long enough to draw something up, bud. 3/4 of the way of the season. That's not finally did something right.
Which is crazy because I watched the play again, and it's representative of something that we've been talking about, like trying something new. They did something that another team might not expect. Send their defenseman through the slot to backdoor. Obviously, 4-on-3 is different than 5-on-3,
yeah.
5-on-4 in terms of coverage, where you have a lot more space. But that's a creative way to do something that they wouldn't necessarily expect. Send your all-star defenseman down into the crease area and have one of your best passers find him backdoor. That was really creative and really good. And
how about the patience from Casey?
I mean, I was just going to say he made one of the better passes I've seen in a long time. It was under a stick, across the crease, far enough out so that Vasilevsky couldn't poke check it, right on Darlene's tape, and he, as he said, he just had to tap it in. So if that was the brainchild of Matt Ellis, who has been politely, he has been criticized on this show by both of us.
I've been convinced that fucking last year's blueprint to the power play has been hidden on that fucking bald spot in the top of his head. He just didn't know it was there.
Well, that's one theory. But if that's an example of something that he could do moving forward, by all means, that's great. We'll take it. But I do think this was kind of a unique situation in an overtime 4-on-3 situation. But doesn't matter how they did it. They did it. They got that extra point. They're 11 points out now instead of 12, or it would have been 13, I guess, or maybe still 12. It would have been 13, yeah. It's a 2-point swing. Even so, that is a really, really massive time to get something like that done. And thankfully they did it because it was looking really, really bleak before Tage Thompson scored.
Yeah. Agreed. Was this Tage's best game of the season?
I didn't get to watch the entire thing. From the times that for the times that I did watch, I did see some more creativity. I did see some more shot creation. Not much in the first half of the game at all, but he eventually was able to get some space, and that's obviously where he thrives the best, where he's able to use that long reach and his stick handling. So I wouldn't say it was his best because he's had a few multi-point nights. He's had a few nights where he looked like the Tage Thompson of last year, but I would say it's probably his best of the past month or so, which we've all been questioning whether he's still hurt. So that's a good sign. And hopefully he's getting out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that definitely what you said, the creativity side of it, like he was all over the ice. He's weaving. that second half of that game was for him was much like what Braden Point was doing to us in the first half, especially in that first period. I thought the one guy that stood out the most for Tampa was Braden Point, one of my favorite non-Sabres in the NHL. Just a fun player to watch. Such a great 200-foot centerman. Just can score, score from anywhere on the ice. Creative out the ass. Like, such a fun player to watch. And then the second half, you really start to see Tage Thompson really start to take over and see that top line start to gel more. I loved everything I saw from him. Again, feather in the cap for Granato in making that move. I think Jordan Greenway helped in that quite a bit. Just adding that extra amount of size and presence in front of the net, definitely helped a lot, and definitely helped Tage a lot. Drew that penalty in overtime, beating his man. Who was it? Did he beat? Was it Kucherov that he beat to the outside? That drew that penalty.
I didn't see it. I
want to say it was he beat Kucherov with some speed. I think he beat Kucherov to the outside. Vasilevsky made a big save, but it drew the penalty. I thought for sure, he tried to sneak it, to the back to the forehand and flip it over. Just grazed off Vasilevsky's glove and up and over the net, but draws the penalty. And then, less than a minute later, Casey Middlestat finds Darlene in the slot for the game winner. I think that definitely it was Tage's best game of the season. Only a 2-point night, sure, but I mean, you got to start somewhere, and he's been snake bitten all season. So I hope this is 2 games in a row he scored. Did he score against Florida?
Yeah, he tipped that one in.
Yep. 2 games in a row.
As good as the decision to put Greenway with Tage was, I think another mind-boggling decision to take Krebs off the line with Benson or even like put him with anybody else and then put him back with Girgensons and Robinson. Just doesn't make sense to me. I've seen some theories online, something along the lines of the puck wasn't necessarily going in the net as much as you would like. But in the first half, in the first period alone, he created 3 or 4 really, really good scoring chances. And you can see his energy is up. You can see creativity, as we talked with Tage. He's a playmaker. He creates opportunities for the people that he's playing with. And if he's not playing with guys who clearly don't have much ability to put the puck in the net or get to spaces to even get themselves opportunities to put the puck in the net, you're not going to notice him. And that's what we've seen from the first year and a half of his career with the Sabres.
Even if that line isn't getting the puck in the net, I mean, they're like 2 games in a row. They were clearly our best line on the ice, and at least they're creating chances, and they're not spending time in the defensive zone. Pucks aren't going in the net when they're out there, So whether they're scoring or not, like they're not getting scored against, and they're creating chances and they're creating pressure. And eventually, if you keep it up with that line and allow them to continue to grow together, that pucks will eventually start to go in. So I agree with you there. I hated that decision by Granato to take Krebs off that line.
And hopefully it was just a singular game thing. Maybe he saw the physicality that the Lightning were playing with and thought in this specific instance that might be a good idea. He has been playing well enough over an extended period of stretch now that hopefully that he doesn't relegate him back to the 4th line, because that would just be
he's just useless there. There's literally nothing that like that Robinson can't do that Peyton Krebs was doing. You know what I mean? Like there's
also like you put Oposo with better players and he's ineffective either way. Like his skill set is with guys like that.
Is it a show? I mean, we heard the quote earlier today about the trade deadline, and him and Kevin Adams are on the same page when it comes to the trade deadline. And he goes, well, we'll see what happens. But like, is that you're trying to pad the stats of Kyle Okposo? I really don't know. Like, I don't understand the mindset there, taking an offensively gifted player off a line where he was playing the best probably has played since becoming a Sabre, and then putting him down on a line where he generates almost no offense.
Yeah, didn't make any sense. And I'm holding out hope that, especially against the team that he was traded from, the Knights on Saturday night, that he is not on the 4th line. I guess we'll see. Donnie hasn't inspired much hope as far as lineup decisions is concerned the entire season, but we'll see. It's
definitely been head scratching to say the least. We got a lot of comments here in the peanut gallery. We'll hit some of them from our best friend Mauricio. Let me get a who great game. I mean, about Woo. Great game, comeback, fight back, complete level. Greenway looked good with Thompson and Tuck. That is, I think, the first time Mauricio has left a comment on the show where it was all positive.
Sometimes winning just cures everything.
None of me of this one. What about Cousins, Middlestat, Paterka lineup shakeup with Skinner, Krebs, and Robinson? Benson needs to be demoted, causing too many turnovers. Puck management, poor puck management. Sabres turn puck over all game. You go from that to that. So,
I mean, we'll take the positives.
Yeah, we'll take the positives.
Yeah, I mean, I would say most of the lineup tonight was really ineffective. Paterka, no shots on goal again after a stretch of games where he was getting two every single night and using his speed to get to the tough areas and creating chances. I'm wondering if he's hurt just because he's basically been absent for a few games now.
I like this comment we just talked about from Kevin here. Not happy with line juggling. Krebs benched in third while Okposo and Robinson had ice time.
Like, you got to think that's like a matchup specific thing.
It has to be, right? Like, how are you sitting Krebs?
Yeah.
After what, 2 weeks of the best hockey he's played
and
in his career?
Even the first period tonight, it's not like he started out badly. Like, he was really good in the first period.
At least there's hopes. There's still a burning fire in the team. Thompson looked possessed tonight. Skinner is a poison on team. Can't score 5-on-5. Another Olsen related outcast. I mean, I'm not comparing Jeff Skinner to Victor Olsen.
Yeah, I also think he's playing with something. Especially since that Nathan.
Well, I think when we had Mike on the show, I think he said Skinner.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same since the Nathan McKinnon hit. So
yeah,
and he scored the other night.
Matt Ellis drew up the 4-on-3 play. Coach says he likes Greenway with Tuck Thompson a lot. Really, I don't mind it. Listen, Kevin, I don't mind it. That line looked great tonight.
Yeah, I like it too, but you need to find a combination on those other two lines between Middlestat, Paterka, Cousins, Benson, Krebs, and Skinner, I guess. Those six guys I don't care what combination you use with those six guys, but you put those six guys together and you put Gergensons, Robinson, and Okposo on that fourth line. Please just do that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah,
from Buffalo Soldier Movement, let's fucking go. Tage is back, baby. What a difference without EJ in the lineup. Yeah, we didn't bring that up yet. Eric Johnson, allegedly ill. Not in the lineup tonight.
It's a pretty quick flu bug he caught.
Well, actually, they did bring up Tokarski to back up tonight, and there was a rumor floating around that Comrie was sick too. So maybe something was going up.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't want to speculate.
Yeah,
but, I mean, if Eric Johnson's getting traded, he's going to get traded. So.
We need a top four defenseman to play with Samuelson, Dahlin, and Power. Switch up defenseman teams. Sees what's best defensively. We need a quality defenseman first who's physical in the corners and in front of the net. I 100% agree with you, Mauricio. We've been talking about that, for 3/4 of the season. We still don't have that guy defensively who plays with that physical presence. We always hoped it would be Samuelson, but the guy's just never healthy, unfortunately. What a great win, great game. Tage is heating up and starting to look like his old self. We talked about that. Tage, this is probably his best game of the season. I mean, he didn't score 3 goals or have 5 points, but it's a start, man. And we need him from here on out to really, really carry the load offensively for this team. I said it last game during game notes, like this stretch, you really need Tage Thompson to finally start to look like the guy from last year because they need that right now. Surfs up, Connor, California Sunshine. When is the next pool party? I'll bring there.
What's the harem? Is that a drug?
No, it's a women. Women.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's slang for a woman.
Oh, nice. We haven't been getting much sunshine out here. So
yeah, it was snowing today here in Buffalo after it was 60 degrees at noon yesterday. So
rained a lot. It's in like the 50s. It's been a rough winter out here.
Yep. But from Buffalo, got a lot of new commenters here in the chat. I love it. Great goal by Dahlin and credit to power play too. Mitz with the great pass to end it from Anita Hajab. This is sick.
Agreed.
Do you guys have apparel? Yes, we do.
Funny you ask.
It's funny you ask. Yes, Anita, we do. Make sure you're following myself at Duane S39 or at CHurls13. Make sure you're following at Buffalo Co on Instagram and Twitter, because you'll start to see it very soon. And you know what? I'll find you on the Twitter app, and I'll send you a message with some links. So Dylan Baker, Sabres always play Tampa well. Sabres just always play away from home well. W in the chat. Man, I think everybody's just talking to each other at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how you get the conversation going.
UPL, Sabres.
Haven't really mentioned him yet.
Yeah.
And I think is it Joe, Sneaky Joe, today on Twitter he put a poll up. He said that when the Sabres do finally make the playoffs, whenever that is, he didn't say when it would be, who do you think is going to start in goal for that first playoff game? And he said UPL, Levi, or the field. I'm not sure what the result of the poll was. I voted UPL, and that is under the condition that hopefully it's next season. And that's just what I think is going to happen based upon obviously how this season has gone, and hopefully maybe a 60-40 split between UPL and Levi next season. But that, for me, also does not preclude a situation where it would necessarily have to be UPL for the entire series. I think obviously the way Levi's playing in Rochester, which is unbelievably, giving him more development, giving him more time to be an NHL goalie. The best case scenario for this team moving forward is both UPL and Levi playing at the top of their games to complement each other in the best way possible.
We got a question here from Vinny. What are your thoughts for future of Okposo? I'll let you start that one off, Connor.
The way I read into that quote from Lance Lykowski of the Buffalo News today is that it seems as though he is open to being traded. It seems as though that the way that quote was phrased, we're both on the same page and we'll see what happens. That didn't sound like a guy to me that was very passionate, like, hey, I'm here, my family's here. I think maybe in the future, like from a business perspective, maybe a front office role that is totally in the cards for Kyle Okposo. Mm-hmm. But for him as a hockey player, I do think he wants a Stanley Cup. He's played for obviously a really long time. He hasn't had the greatest opportunity, and I don't think it's wrong of him to want the best situation for himself to go and chase that this year and get one more playoff run, because
I definitely
we've all seen this is his last season.
I definitely see one of possibly two teams for sure are they going to have a big interest in Kyle Okposo, because it's not going to be expensive. You know, Buffalo could probably even retain the entire salary if they wanted to, to maximize return. We already talked about one, Boston. The other one, I think it could be a team like Vegas. I think Eichel would be a big advocate for that, because they were very close in Buffalo.
You could also see him going back to the Islanders, finishing his career where they started. They are starting to play well themselves, and they obviously have kind of gone all in here recently, getting Bo Horvat last.
I don't think there's any doubt that he would probably sign like one of those one-day contracts to finish his career as a Buffalo.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. Well, I don't know. He's had a pretty, obviously not in terms of wins, but he's had a pretty impactful tenure with the Sabres. So I'm not sure. Either way, I do think he's going to get traded. What you get back from him, I think
so too.
I'm not sure. But both Okposo and Gergenson's probably out. And that means you get a guy like Lucas Rusek hopefully coming up. Hopefully Yuri Kulik, maybe even Isaac Rosian. You bring the young guys in, throw them on the fourth line, and you're not going to have that physical defensive presence that you supposedly have on the fourth line right now. But at least we're going to have some excitement. So I'm looking forward to that.
Kyle could go to a team like the Wild if they compete. That is, I think he's from Minnesota, isn't he?
He is from Minnesota. So
Minnesota, because I'm sure he'd play with that.
Any one of those teams, I feel like, could slot him in on the fourth line, give him 10 minutes a night, penalty killing.
Kruger to Skinner, Granato to Krebs.
Saw that comparison earlier. I don't think it's that bad.
No, well, it's not that bad because, I mean, Skinner went from scoring 30 to 40 goals a season to scoring like 3 in 1 year under Kruger.
A bit different situation, but it does seem like there's a vendetta.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We need to call up Tyson Kozak to fill our number 1 center spot. Overall, has way more talent than TNT. I don't know about that, Ashton.
Hot take.
Not sure if that's satire or not. I like Tyson Kozak. Don't get me wrong. Not a bad player down in the HL, but Just no.
Absolutely not.
There's no. But he did ask a question earlier. Could Vegas be a team to try for Okposo? That's Corbin Snyder. Yeah, I think that Eichel would be as big as advocate. I'm pretty sure they lived together at one point before Eichel bought his house. I know he used to live with Matt Molson, but they were tight. I remember when Kyle was being interviewed about Eichel during the whole neck thing, and they asked him like abruptly about it. They kind of caught him off guard. I was like, it was after the trade. I'm actually hanging out with Jack right now. They're like, they were still tight even after the trade. So I could definitely see something like that in the works. If Eichel gave some type of approval or spoke up for him.
And the Vegas Golden Knights are doing what they always do with the long-term injured reserve loophole. Mark Stone miraculously got hurt in February, and he's going to be out until right before the playoffs. So they've got some cap relief, and they're going to have the ability to sign some people as they do every year. So Saturday could be a tryout for Kyle.
From Kevin here, Ryan Johnson was good tonight. Liked his game a lot. Shouldn't have to be fighting to get into this lineup, that's for sure. But when he is in the lineup, for the most part, he always looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, puck mover, creative offensively, not a liability on the defensive end by any means. Of course, he's had his bumps along the road, but he's a rookie defenseman. So, yeah, I mean, I love his game and can't wait to see how he improves.
Tage's power play goal was all Tage. The power play was pretty brutal before that. Yeah, I mean, like,
so bad.
That was typical Tage Thompson, release too. Like he kind of looked off one of his teammates and then stepped into it with that wrist shot, and he said it was like around 87 miles an hour. Just absolutely smoked Vasilevsky. From Doug, when I saw Matt Ellis drawing up the play, I was saying to myself, okay, guys, whatever Matt Ellis tells you, just do the opposite. Agree, power play is still AHL-like here from Ashton. And then another new commenter, Matt Ellis should get zero credit for that. 4-on-3 in overtime is pretty much 90%.
Yeah, but even 4-on-3 power plays this year for the Sabres have been bad. So to draw up any type of play, and especially that play, the way we talked about, being as creative and different as it was, you got to give him a little credit. Obviously, the players executed it, but I mean, he hasn't done anything this year, so you got to give him something.
Yeah. From Corbin, do you guys buy what Dahlin said about Matt Ellis Trump, the game-winning goal in OT? I mean, I don't see why Dahlin would lie about that. I mean,
no, I also think that Dahlin definitely knows how much shit Matt Ellis has gotten. Maybe, I don't know if they've seen things that we've said or anybody else, but like, there's been some pretty vocal criticism of Matt Ellis this year, and I do kind of like that these guys are petty enough to like go out of their way to like protect their coaches. Obviously, the season's been disappointing, but you can tell it's a pretty tight room, and I think that's kind of cool.
Connor, apply for assistant coach position. Matt Ellis is done like dinner. I definitely think could use the red beard.
I don't have the qualifications for that.
Maybe they could use the red beard behind the bench. I think they could.
I would look good back there.
You would look good. You would look great.
Put a nice suit on, slick the hair back, but no, I do not.
I think if Connor showed up to be the assistant coach of the Sabres, Mauricio might actually make an in-arena appearance.
I would love
maybe hold up a sign for you. California sunshine. All right, we'll step away from the peanut gallery here for a second. We'll take a look at some more of the comments post-game. Brought to you by Brian Koziel from WGR. Always really on top of it. Let's see here. Granado says they moved Krebs to fourth line tonight as they needed different combos and looks. Wanted to get specific matchups versus Tampa. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah, it's exactly what we said. I mean, that's a cop-out, I think, and it is an in-game decision, and it better not be what's going to happen moving forward. So you can get mad about it, but like I don't think we can get too mad.
I just hope it's not a thing that we're going to look at going forward. Exactly. Granado says he was happy. He was happy the way they handled the early Tampa pressure and building atmosphere, says the response with the Tuck goal shortly after Tampa scored was big. Granato on the power play goal in overtime credits Matt Ellis for the pre-scouting report on what Tampa does defensively, and he helped draw up the game winner. Also, obviously does help that it was a 4-on-3, but listen, I'll give credit when it is due. Hats off to
looking at the scouting report. Matt Ellis doing his job.
Yeah, where has that been all year? Granato says Krebs and a few others didn't play much in the third because he wanted to shorten the bench. Says he was not injured. Krebs only played 10 minutes and 45 seconds tonight. Here's my problem with this. I'm glad we won. Why are you waiting till now, this point of the season, to shorten your bench in the third period? And why is it a guy like Krebs, the young guy, the guy who has the stamina and the energy to, play more minutes I don't understand that. I just don't, why are we waiting until now? I've been an advocate for guys like Tage Thompson, double shifting in games like this in the third period, or even playing on both power play units the way, Pittsburgh has always run sometimes with Crosby and Ovechkin and Washington. Like, why are we waiting till now, Don? Why was that a decision that you waited till 3/4 of the season to start doing? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think that, the players you're choosing to essentially punish, you're picking the wrong guys. Dahlian on Tage's play as of late. He's got some swagger now. Dahlian on the game-winning goal. I'm not reading that again. You already touched on it. Tage on Tuck goal. Says it was a big response from the early Tampa Bay goal. Says the goal came from a good forecheck. Says they got a lot of ozone time from it. Tage on their power plays as of late have been improving. Says they needed it tonight. It came up big. And Tage on his power play goal. It was a quick regroup in the neutral zone. Skinny drove the net, and they backed off a little. So a lot to unpack there, but we got a lot of credit to the assistant coach for drawing that game-winning goal up in overtime. We got our answer on why Krebs was essentially demoted and didn't play at all in the third period. I don't agree with it. I assume you wouldn't agree with it either, Connor. Whether it was a win or not, I just don't think it was the right decision. But yeah, I don't know. I need your thoughts on any of that.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is what Ras said about Tage. He's playing with swagger, and that translates to confidence. And I think confidence translates to health as far as Tage is concerned moving forward. I don't think he's had a lot of that this year, and it's been a lot of fluky injuries, and it's been a lot of weird stuff. And that may even go back to what he was dealing with last year towards the end of the year with his back and why he was unable to go to the All-Star game. So I just would love to see him get healthy. Obviously, he's a lanky dude. He opens himself up to tough situations sometimes, and everybody knows about Tage now too. So he's constantly going to get hit. He's constantly going to get tracked by the team's best defender. But you saw it tonight. He's playing with some swagger. He's playing with some confidence. And this team partially survived last season because of the big goals that he scored. He had 47 goals last year. So if he's even able to get to 30 by the end of the year, I know it's a long shot for them to make the playoffs, but that would be a really, really good sign for next year.
Yeah. Do you think that the way they're playing now at this point of the season is a step above the way they were playing at this time last year?
I wouldn't say a step above. Last year, especially in March, I think they won 9 of 12 down the stretch, but it's still pretty boring for most of the game. They're still not getting a lot of really quality chances. They're not the exciting run and gun team that they used to be. Obviously, they're more responsible defensively, but I would argue that they don't necessarily need to, given how much better the goaltending is. The one thing this team was missing last year was average goaltending. And then this season, and I don't think it's necessarily the entire reason behind it being better defensive play, Luukkonen is playing at a top 5 level right now. You can trust him, especially in high danger situations. That one-timer that he stopped from Steven Stamkos from 10 feet out today, he made look really easy. He made look really easy, but he made it look easy because he was in such good position. He tracked the puck, as well as I've ever seen him. He was there half a second before Stamkos even winded up and hit him with a 100-mile-per-hour shot. He is playing at a level that he's never played before. So I think this team needs to start playing a little bit more like they did last year. Win a game 6-4. Like Luukkonen is going to make the stops that you need to, and he's probably going to make more than that. So I would like to see more of that moving forward because, as we've said before, what do they have to lose?
Yeah, I could agree with you more. A couple more comments before we get to our 3 stars. You got to let Krebs cook. Gar is really just livid about the line juggling. Granato is awful. I was in his corner until he proved me wrong. F. Granato, he proved he's a bozo with that penalty last game. Can't get his goalie out. He's throwing spaghetti at the wall now in panic. The heat map looks like the Arctic Circle. The line changes didn't work. They were totally ineffective. I would say yes, with the exception of Greenway on the top line, but everything else he did was, pretty much an utter failure. But yeah, again, they won though. So I hope that this is the trend going forward. Do they keep Greenway on that top line, you think?
With how well they played tonight, especially against a physical team, like a very big physical team like the Knights on Saturday, I think you have to.
Yeah, don't disagree, but you can't justify having Okposo that high up in your lineup. No, I don't care.
But like we said, you've got 6 guys that you slot into the middle 6, and then you put Okposo, Girgensons, and Robinson on the 4th line.
Yeah, so I there's just no excusing that guy playing any more than 12 minutes a night, in my opinion.
Any other combination of those 6 players, I'm fine with.
One question
centers in there too. So
chances of Middlestat being traded and Krebs set as number 3 center, is it 50-50?
I do not think it's 50-50. I think it's 10-90 that he gets traded, and 90 being that he doesn't.
We do know Kevin wants to bring him back. It's not his intent to trade him, but we've heard a lot of stuff for the last few weeks that they're also listening to offers and they're taking phone calls. So they're not calling people to trade him, but they are listening to offers. So your 3 stars of the game, because I know you got a hockey game to get to.
I think you could give UPL one of these stars almost every night at this point. And given that he only had 23 saves tonight, which is 21 saves on 23 shots, he had a couple high danger chances, but I wouldn't necessarily say he was one of the 3 stars, probably the 4th if I had to guess. 3rd, I'll go with Greenway. As we've talked about, he was tremendously physical, really good on the penalty kill. He's been doing what he's done for most of the season. And I thought he had a great game, obviously, as he was with Tuck and Tage, 2nd and 3rd period. I'll do Dahlin, number 2. Another 27 minutes for him tonight. He's just an absolute workhorse. He is the best player on the team, and he's also turned into the most reliable. He, I guess, was known for making boneheaded defensive plays throughout much of the beginning of his career, but he's so patient and so poised with the puck now that you can trust him in almost any situation. And that's what they do. And also he can do what he did in overtime, get you a game-winning goal. So I'll put him at 2. And then as we've harped on and we don't need to do anymore, Tage looked like Tage tonight. And I'll put him as number 1. And one of the biggest goals of the season to tie it at 2 and give us a shot here. It's the hope that kills you, but they would have been completely dead tonight had they only gotten 1 point or 0 points. Agreed. So they still have some left, and I'll give them credit for a lot of that.
My 3rd star, I'm going to go with UPL. I know you mentioned we can make him a star pretty much every night, but I think that especially when they were kind of under siege early in the first period, he stood tall and came up with timely saves late in the game. So I'm going to give it to UPL. 2nd star, same as you, Rasmus Dahlin. Just really when he is moving the puck well up ice, skating freely, he's damn near just as dangerous as Cal McCarr, if not, if not more. And he was skating pretty freewheeling tonight, moving the puck up the ice. They were backing up quite a bit for him. And he creates those opportunities because he puts people on their heels because of the way he can skate and the way he can move the puck up the ice. Find those kind of creases in the defense. So yeah, I'll take Rasmus Dahlin with the game-winning goal as my 2nd star. And again, same as you, First star is going to be Tage Thompson. Tage, best game of the season, in my opinion. He may have not put up 4 or 5 points like he used to last season multiple times a year, but I would say this was his most complete game all year. So I'm going to go Tage Thompson for my first star. That being said, any final thoughts?
Looks like Jack Eichel's playing on Saturday.
He was wearing the non-contact jersey. I think most people expect him to miss. Are you a conspiracy guy? Do you think Jack Eichel like almost planned for Buffalo to be his game back?
He's one of the pettiest guys in the league.
Yeah,
I really honestly like he didn't play tonight. I don't think I didn't check that, but I don't think he did. So yeah, I'm sure he did plan that. I'm sure he got like a timeline, and he was just like, all right, let's figure out my rehab plan so that I'm ready for March 2nd in Buffalo. What can we do to make that happen? And I guarantee you that he made that happen. So,
dude,
especially like the first time, like since winning the cup, you don't think he wants to come into Buffalo and hear the boos and relish in the hatred that he made such a big deal.
I want to treat him the way wrestling fans treated Hulk Hogan when he turned heel for the first time in his career.
It's gonna be even worse.
Throw garbage on the ice.
Yeah.
I remember when that all happened. Somebody literally, I don't know anybody who, obviously I'm not sure, you're not as much of a mark as me, but Scott Hall used to be big with his hair, the way he used to slick his hair back, and he used to have a little strand of hair almost like shaped like an S in the front. And somebody that night, like it was the first time Hulk Hogan ever turned heel in his career. It was the night the NWO was created, and somebody threw a cup of beer at Scott Hall, and it hit him square in the head, and like it was scripted, hits him in the head, and he just goes, and somehow he looked cooler. Somehow, if you ever get a chance to watch it online, it's fucking great. But that's the way I want to treat Jack Eichel. I want people to just throw garbage at him. I don't even care.
Jack doesn't have nice enough hair for that. So
no, he doesn't. Not the hair part, but just the fan reaction. That's just
So I know
every time.
The story, everything behind it, I really do think he's going to play, which ramps up the game even more than it already matters. So can't wait. Let's do this.
The next 4 out of 5 games with Murderers Row, really, man. You got the Golden Knights on Saturday, back to back with the Jets on Sunday. How do they handle that? In that
call.
Are they going to call up Levi?
I think UPL is capable of playing back to back. He seems healthy enough, although he did just have that lower body like 2 weeks ago.
I don't think they do it, man. I don't, especially with, if it was a game where he only faced like 20 shots against Vegas, sure, maybe, but I don't see that happening.
Call Levi.
He's done it before, and he got a win against LA. It was against LA.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, he's been incredible. So because obviously, I mean,
you're not. I don't think you're starting Tokarski or Dust or Comrie.
Comrie, it is against his former team, but
I'm done with that, man. I'm fucking done with that. Yeah. No, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm done with it too.
No, I don't care if it's his former team or not. So, you got Toronto on Wednesday.
That's a win.
Yeah, you hope so. The only given, if you were to ask me, the only guaranteed win out of these next 5 games would be the Predators on Thursday the 7th, and then you got the Oilers on the 9th.
Don't say guaranteed win.
I know, but you're looking at those 5 games. You're telling me to pick a win.
There's
money on it. I'm probably picking the Predators
for sure, but there are no guarantees with this bunch.
But that's that lineup, and then Tuesday the 12th, you got the Red Wings, who have been red hot, featuring Pat Kane, no big deal, and then the Islanders on the 14th.
Is the Red Wings game at home or no?
The Red Wings game is at home, yes.
Oh, wow.
The Red Wings game is at home. The Oilers game is at home. We play away against the Predators, the Maple Leafs, and we play home back-to-back against the Knights and the Jets. So,
regardless of how they're doing, that'll be a sold-out barn for Patty Kane, for sure.
100%. A lot of I told you so's, including this guy right here and this guy right there. So, Eat your crow, analytics people. Eat your crow. But that being said, guys, remember this has been brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. Over 8 different Western New York locations to choose from, and over 300 beers to choose from. Fatty Beer is one of the only kid and dog friendly bars in all of Western New York. Open 7 days a week, 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later. Live trivia, music, and entertainment at all 8 locations, 7 days a week. And don't forget Buffalo Logo Apparel, one of the best spots to get all of your apparel needs when it comes to your favorite Buffalo sports teams. And make sure you go check out our handles at CHurls13, at Duane39, at 2goalies1mike on both Instagram and Twitter to see some of the upcoming drops from Buffalo Logo. The hats that they have are going to be absolutely killer. Make sure you go check those out. If I was a great podcast host, I would have already had that teed up, but I don't. But just go check them on our handles. They're there for you to see. Absolutely, some heat coming from Buffalo Logo and 2goalies1mike, so go check it out. I am Duane for Mr. Connor Hurley, who's getting ready to go be a washed up men's league goaltender. What shirt is that, by the way?
It says Almost Friday Beers, and it's Michael Jordan golfing.
Love it. Hey, actually, the only guy that was invited to Chris Chelios' retirement that didn't show up, Michael Jordan.
That sounds right. He's in a different country like every week, so yeah. I'm not.
I guess him and Shelly were really good friends though. So
yeah, I mean, Michael Jordan has a wide array of friends. But,
I would love to see his contacts list in his phone. It's probably nuts.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a private golf club in North Carolina that certain people are members of. And you get drones that deliver food and drinks to you on the course. So that says it all. But Almost Friday. I got to get out here. We'll see you.
Yep. Talk to you guys later. This has been I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company and Buffalo Logo. We will talk to you guys on Saturday against the Golden Knights. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Go Sabres.